Some towns are bad. Some cities are known for being corrupt. Others aren't. There's corruption everywhere. There's bad people who are dentists, that are lawyers, that are cops, that are military. I don't have a fetish of attacking police, but I do know that the federal government is standardizing police training everywhere. They're training them with TSA groping now. They're erasing the Fourth Amendment. I saw a video last night of a guy in Arkansas, Jonesboro, videotaping his neighbor being stopped by police. They put her in handcuffs. She's clean cut. Got her kid's bicycle in the back. Search her car, let her go. And he goes, you guys are Nazis. You're searching people out here without warrants. He's in his garage, probably about 50 yards away. They come up, and they say, we're going to get you for your grass being too long. It's about an inch too long, a little bit over the curb. And they say, we're going to get you for a racial slur, talking about Nazis. And then they go into his garage, find a gun, and charge him with felon in possession of a gun until he went to court, and he had no criminal record. They knew that. It's just... I mean, I see videos every day without looking where they beat someone up for no reason and then charge them with assault. They will beat the pulp out of you. Remember the ambulance driver? They get behind the ambulance driver, that famous footage, and the ambulance is going 60. You can see the cop going like 100. And it turns out he didn't even really have a call because you hear all the radio chatter, state policeman in Oklahoma. And turned out he'd had a lot of problems in the past, but his daddy and people are all hooked up in the police department. In the state police, and he pulls over the ambulance, and they've got a woman that turns out having a heart attack in the back, and the guys get out, white guy and a black guy, and the first guy comes over to the white guy and looks at him and says, we got a lady with a heart situation. Well, what? I mean, the guy looks like he's just seen Santa Claus in his living room on Christmas morning. I mean, he doesn't believe it. He's like, what's going? The cops go, get over there. I told you, get out of my way. And the driver gets out, a paramedic, black guy, comes over, big black guy, because you could tell he wanted to tear this guy up. And he says, what are you doing? He goes, you didn't get out of my way quick enough. Now, this cop car flies up on the tail, and maybe for 5 seconds, and they even try to get over. And it's a grass shoulder. So they fly up like maniacs on his hind end. They can't get over. The cop shoots around him, but then waits and pulls him over. It's really crazy. And starts choking the guy. And the ambulance driver's just going, what are you doing, man? I got a patient. And the cop's like, ah, starts choking him and going, don't resist me. And the guy's really smart. He goes, I'm not resisting you. I'm not resisting you. And the state police came out at first and said, this is good. This is good policy. This is insanity. This is like employees that get out of control and think that they're your boss, or your children thinking you're your boss, or your neighbor thinking you're your boss. We had this crazy neighbor, that's why we moved years ago, who was saying we had an imaginary cat. We didn't have a cat. Okay? And was saying, you will come clean up and she was so crazy and looking at us and doing stuff that I told my wife, let's turn the other cheek, let's start cleaning up the cat poop. I said, let's get the house up for sale, let's get out of here. And it turned out her husband was like an engineer, quasi-retired for the state. They didn't like it that I was against toll roads. They would freak out on me in the yard about that. And so she said, you're going to clean this up. And my wife said, we don't have a cat. She goes, yes, you do, little... It was like a witch. Yes, you do, little lady. And I said, turn the other cheek. Get the house up for sale right now. She'll black op us with CPS. These people work for the government. I said, let's get out of here. And I said, if she messes with us, we're going to sue her. We will destroy them. But let's just get out of here. Because we would go and weekly, dig up the cat poop and worship her. And she would stand there going, I can't believe your little cat. And we were like, yes, the little cat. Because these are mentally ill government worshipers. They both had worked for the government. He still did. Now, I mean, I would walk outside and they'd see me. He would just shake with hate. Shake with hate. Now, this is what government is. You give them this power. Now, for the rest of the hour, we're going to be getting into this with Jennifer Jones. And I actually have the WorldNet Daily article here. Nazi police kidnap woman at town hall. That's what happened. That's what it is. Official oppression is a form of kidnapping. It's like cops that pull up in front of topless bars when the drunk dancers come out. They say, honey, you're going to service me in the back of the car. That happens all the time. It says, I'm not going to quit until I see them in jail. The small town in Arizona is suddenly a YouTube sensation after a town hall meeting devolved into a physical clash. They always call it a clash. They grabbed her. Was forcibly removed for speaking during a public portion of the event. Jennifer J. Jones, 45, of Quartzsite, Arizona, was taken into custody by local police at the behest of the council members who did not want her to be able to speak over the objections of the mayor, who pleaded with officers not to remove the woman. Now, you've studied this case. I want to give people the news behind the news on what happened here.
Right. This starts off in April of 2008, and Alex, it's insane. Basically, Jennifer Jones is a lady who moved to Quartzsite with her husband to start a dog grooming business, or to keep her dog grooming business going. She kind of wanted to go semi-retired and just live life. And so in April of 2008, she witnesses a code enforcement officer and a policeman harassing one of her neighbors. And instead of turning the other cheek...
They can't let the ants get together.
Oh, exactly. And so instead of minding her own business and turning her head, she stays and is a witness. And so her neighbor comes up and says, "What should I do?" And she says, "Well, you need to work with them now, but, you need to, I'll be a witness for you. We'll work on your rights." And so then the code enforcement officer and the policeman turned to her and said, "Well, what can we get you with?" So they start harassing her. She's been called a transient because her business is mobile. She has a RV and a trailer, and she moves them around wherever she gets the best rates.
Well, yeah, they destroy the economy and then treat you like a gypsy for if you live in a shack or have a mobile business.
And so she's been up fighting these people, and it's police chief, it's code enforcement, it's the city council, and most of the city council...
It's a mafia.
Yeah, they've essentially set up shop in Quartzsite, and they don't want anybody messing with what they're doing, which is probably, raising the water rates. They just raised those up. They took this public prosecutor who's they've just hired, and this guy is being investigated right now. So they hired him because he's doing exactly what they want, because their original prosecutor wouldn't go after Jennifer Jones. And so this is all built up to a head. She started her own newspaper, the Desert Freedom Press, and she started writing about this stuff. And people started coming to her with their problems. So she's kind of becoming this pro se, quasi pro se attorney.
She's standing up.
Exactly.
And she's walking tall. And the next thing is they come into her business taking photos, tell that story, and then they go back and revoke her license, stamping...
Right. The code enforcement officer's out there taking photos of her business, and she said, "What are you doing? You're trespassing." And she asked them to leave. Well, then the cops show up, and they side with the code enforcement officer and take her to jail for disrupting what it ends up being, disrupting an official business. But at that point also, there was another incident where they wanted to come in and look at her business, and she said, "Not without a warrant." And they said, "No, we don't need a warrant." And they walked right in, and she said, "No, I have a business license. I have every right to be here," because they wanted to try to say the property she was on is not zoned for a business, even though it's a swap meet center where they have swap meets every Saturday, Sunday.
Sheriff of Nottingham behavior.
Exactly. So then the code enforcement officer goes into the court records or the county records and actually writes on there, revokes her business license and signs it. And then when she goes back to get it this past July, it was up this July that we're in now, and they said, "No, you can't get one." It's...
Well, that's like the story out of Oak Park, Michigan, where they put these little vegetable boxes out in front of the house. It looked very nice. Somebody didn't like it, and it actually says that it can have gardens, but it quotes the court enforcement guy saying, "I've decided you can't."
Right. Well, this gets even weirder. And in January of this year, the police chief gets up and he starts reading about crime statistics and stuff like that. And then at the end, he goes, "Well, I got something I want to bring to your attention." And he talks about what was written in her paper, one of the writers, and he mentions her name. And this is right after the shooting, the Gifford shooting. He says, he starts equating what they're saying against, police corruption and official corruption, starts equating them to Jared Loughner, trying to say this is what's going to happen if we don't put a stop to this. So basically, if you speak out against what's going on, you're suddenly Jared Loughner.
No, that's what they teach cops now.
Who is a mind...
Anybody that talks about freedom wants to kill the cops.
Exactly. And so from there, then you get to the court case or the case in city council where she wants to stand up. She's been recognized by the mayor, who's doing...
And something worse, the citizens are now electing good people.
Exactly.
They've elected a mayor. They're taking their town back.
Right. You can't have that because you have this appointed city council. They've all appointed their friends so they can run the mafia. And they don't want her to speak, so they start calling out motions. They start telling the cops to grab her. And so they take her away, but they didn't charge her with anything. So I guess she might be filing kidnapping charges.
She's got to do it with the state police. Let's play a short clip of her being arrested, and then we'll go to Jennifer Jones. There's a whole bunch of these clips shot from different angles. Must be 20 different videos online, but here's one of them right now.
No, I have the floor. Officer, that woman has the floor. You're violating my rules of order here. Sergeant, I have control of the meeting.
Hit pause. The mayor is saying, I have control of the meeting. It's her turn to speak. Let her speak. And the police are grabbing at the microphone with her as she's trying to talk because obviously she's with Al-Qaeda. Jared Lee Loughner talking is evil. Let's go ahead and play the rest of it.
No, you may not. You may go to the back of the room, sir. It's my meeting. This is my meeting.
The mayor says, my meeting, and they arrest her. Or detain her.
Yeah.
They do it.
She got treated for a sprained elbow after this incident.
I'm in charge of this meeting. Will you sit down?
They are grabbing her.
This lady has the floor. She's exercising her.
That's the police chief right there.
Hey, what about the rest of the audience?
And they deserve a turn without the council walking out on it. There was a motion.
And, of course, these tyrants act like this. If they'd have just left her alone, it wouldn't have got all the attention.
Exactly.
But no, I mean...
The people here tonight is what
Okay, please.
tax...
The majority of this council has moved that
There's no motions in front of the council right now.
Hit pause. Yeah, the rules are once it's in front of the council, you have to hear it.
Yeah.
And it's her time to speak, but now they're saying, no, we're not going to do that. They're now voting. And, of course, she's talking about their corruption.
Right.
And so they don't want this being discussed, and they want to run out of town because she's got this newspaper. Let's continue, and then we'll go to her. Here it is.
This is called to the public. I have been writing model ordinances for the last decade.
You can't make motions during call to the public. That's not on the agenda.
As staff informed everyone, this is a framework. This tax is not mandated.
all right.
You are in violation of my rules of order, Sergeant.
Yeah, you're not going to talk about taxes in America. They arrest her right here. Now they grab her. The officer. Everybody was, sir, sir, but they treat us like trash. Here she goes.
My rules of order, Chief.
The mayor's saying, let her speak.
Chief, you are in violation of my rules of order.
The mayor's saying, stop it. That's enough. It goes on, and they take her out. Let's go to Jennifer Jones. Jennifer, what happened once they drug you out of there?
Hey, good afternoon, Alex. First of all, I just want to say thank you for shining a spotlight on what's happening here because I truly believe that cockroaches run from the light. What happened was I thought that they were just going to remove me from the meeting. And so I thought they were just going to throw me out the door and shut the door on me. I got outside, and then at no time did they ever tell me I was under arrest. And my understanding is you're either free to go or you're under arrest.
No, they're God.
You know, so I'm waiting for those magic words, you're under arrest, but I never heard them. I heard stop resisting the officer.
They always do that.
And, all of that nonsense. But they took me outside, and my husband and another gentleman were standing right there, and they handcuffed me. They had pulled me out by my arms, especially the one tall Officer Patterson, shoved me outside, and then he twists my arm up behind my back, and he says, relax, relax. And I said, I am relaxed. And he says, no, relax, relax. But he's twisting my arm a direction it doesn't want to go, and he's already twisted it the
That's
other
all part of the
direction.
mind game, so after he beats you up, he can charge you with something.
Right, so they handcuffed me, and they walked me around to the woman officer, Garcia, walks me around to the back of the building, and then she writes me a ticket for disorderly conduct, which I thought was really strange, because first I didn't know if I was, now that they've handcuffed me, but they still never said I was under arrest. She said, well, will you sign the ticket? And last time they tried to pull this, they invented some crazy misdemeanor that I didn't even know what it meant. So I refused to sign the ticket until they told me who made the complaint and what it meant, and I went to jail for that, too. But this time I'm like, well, if I don't sign this ticket and they take me to jail, I may not get medical attention in jail. So I'm like, yeah, I'll sign the ticket. It's on videotape, multiple videotapes. I even asked her, is your badge cam on? And she said yes, and I said, good, I can't wait to get that video. So they released me to the ambulance service that took me to the county hospital. I knew it wasn't broken, but I felt like something had torn in my elbow, maybe a tendon or a ligament or something.
You've been taught a lesson, yeah?
And I'm sorry, what?
You're evil. Please continue.
Yes, I'm horribly evil. The people that have been trying to take back our little desert community have been called by the council anarchists, seditionists, mob,
Well, they call George Washington that, too. Stay right there.
I'm in good